If your airbag light is on, that is an MOT test failure and you won't pass your annual inspection here in the UK. And in other regions of the world, you're also talking about problems passing those annual inspections. Now, a lot of videos on YouTube suggest disconnecting the battery and reconnecting it as a fix for all manner of faults. And all that does is resets the ECU. If that ECU contained an important error code that would give you an indication as to where the fault is, you'll have lost it doing that. So many people go to their mechanic and say this warning light is on, and when he scans for codes, he can't find any meaningful codes other than perhaps only one or two that perhaps relate to the airbag. And it makes diagnosis a lot harder because you can't look at the history of error codes because we've wiped it. So avoid the temptation. You're not going to fix something and disconnecting it from the power and switching it back on again. That's a useful, cheap reset option if you've actually found a fault and you've replaced it and fixed it, but you are still getting an error light on the dashboard. The airbag warning light is a serious light. The airbag light relates to all of the safety systems in the car, and that might include the airbag in the steering wheel. There may be airbags in the side of the seat, across the top of the car. There may be seatbelt restraint systems that lock in place if you have an accident. And also on modern cars, there's often pedestrian protection systems, and that's what I'm going to start with because that's quite an unusual situation. I had it recently on my Audi. We hit a badger while we were driving along, and there was no damage at all to the car. The poor badger bounced off the car and didn't have a very good time. We got out and tried basic first aid and CPR, but sadly it wasn't responding. And I guess badgers are a bit unfortunate because they're coloured the same as the road, black and white. You've got the black and white on the road. They're very well disguised. But frankly, we didn't stand a chance. It launched itself from the side of the road. There was no way anyone could have stopped. And this triggered our pedestrian protection system. What the pedestrian protection system does, it fires a couple of rams at the top of the bonnet, as you can see here in the video, lifting the bonnet up, and that provides extra cushioning for a pedestrian hitting the bonnet. And it also protects the occupants of the car, causing anything that's hit the front of the car to bounce over the top of the car or to roll over to one side without going straight into the windscreen. Now, the annoying thing is this cost me a good few £100 in labour and parts to fix, and there was no other damage to the car. If you've hit something and your bonnet protection rams have fired up, you can push the bonnet down and that'll enable you to drive around safely, but you will still have the warning light on, and you can only extinguish that warning light if you deal with the rams and replace them. All the while they're still there in the triggered state, you are going to have an airbag light on whatever you try. The first thing we should do really is download the error codes and just see what the fault is, where the fault is. And most modern cars will give you a good indicator as to whether it's an airbag in the steering wheel, in the seat, or some of the other safety systems. Inside the steering wheel there's a little clock spring, and as you steer the car it winds up and unwinds, but eventually the electrical connectors in that would trigger the airbag become worn, and that will trigger an airbag error. The airbag will no longer work properly because the electrical signal lines that connect to it have frayed or damaged and are no longer making contact. That's also true with moving the seat forwards and backwards. That can often just cause a loose connection. So if you just check the connectors under the seat, if it's related to the airbag that's in the side of the seat, and just unplug and plug in, that's often enough to clear that fault code and to get it reset and get that light to stay off. You've also got impact sensors around the car. They're usually mounted in the front of the car, on the chassis, inside the bumper, or around the frame, and they detect sudden deceleration or the typical impacts that you would get, such as the passenger protection system that I've mentioned earlier. If those are faulty, they are going to trigger a warning light, and you may need to get them replaced. Now, they can become corroded and damaged through time. The vibration of driving over really rough road surfaces can actually damage these sensors and cause them to stop working, or you may have had an impact. Now, interestingly, on a lot of modern cars, if you've had an impact that has triggered the airbag, you will have a permanent code stored in the ECU. The only way of getting rid of it is to replace the ECU, and that's how people can check the history of a car and see if it's been involved in a serious accident, even though it has been superficially repaired and looks okay. A lot of OBD2 readers will not be able to reset the airbag warning light because that's a body system. It's related to the body and the safety systems of the car. You need a more advanced OBD2 reader. Most garages will still have these. Depending on the complexity of the car, you may need to go back to a main dealer in order to get these things reset. But research the problem, research the error code, work out whether you're dealing with loose wires, whether it's a faulty sensor, or it's even a faulty airbag unit. You can also check for recall notices. It may be there was a batch of faulty airbags that were fitted to your car, and that particular fault is now triggering an airbag warning light. But don't drive around with an airbag warning light, because the safety systems on the car are compromised and you won't pass your annual inspection. And it will certainly be a false economy to reset the car by disconnecting the battery, because you'll lose all of the data and the history that you can download from the OBD2 port. I hope this video has been useful and it's just informed you a little bit about why your airbag light could possibly be on. Let me know what your experience has been in the comments below. I really do love reading your comments, and I may well have missed something out. There's a lot of exotic cars out there with systems that I've never even come across. So please drop us your thoughts and help us to expand our general knowledge when it comes to these systems on a car. Thanks for watching. Please boot the like button if you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. We've got lots of other tips and articles coming up to help you get the best out of your car. And I've lined up this video and this playlist that you should find really interesting. Thanks for watching. See you in these next videos.